They've been called saber-tooth sausages or a penis with teeth, but a more respectable name is a sand puppy. And out of all of the 20 or so mole rat species that inhabit sub-Saharan Africa, the naked mole rat is the smallest. It's about 30 grams. And they're not completely immune to cancer, as some people may have read. They just don't get it very often because they have stretchy skin. The protein that's involved in stretchiness stops cells from clumping together and dividing, something that might become into a cancer. And their brain doesn't respond to pain like other mammals. For example, they don't sense chili, so the hot sense of a chili, they wouldn't even register it. So you could give them a Carolina Reaper and a naked mole rat wouldn't flinch. And they don't age like other animals. They're incredibly long-lived. Some could be 40 years old, whereas a mouse would probably die at 5. And they're about the same size as a mouse. And one reason for this is that they've got a very low metabolic rate. Their resting heart rate is 160 beats per minute. A rat's is 350 beats per minute. And they form colonies, so large colonies with up to 300 individuals. There's a queen and she's got a few of her favourite larger males to mate with. But they're usually about 70 to 80 individuals. And this is similar to bees and ants or other eusocial animals. But the queen has modified her body, so she's actually fused her vertebrae so she can give birth to many pups, 50 I think in a month. One in captivity gave birth to 900 pups in 11 years. The queen was once thought to suppress her nestmates and daughters and everyone else in the colony with like pheromonal cues, but actually she's just a massive bully and she makes them feel like they're subordinate. So their tunnels are always higher than they are wide, and so whenever she's walking through the colony, she climbs on top of her nestmates, and when she does this, sometimes she's too pregnant to move, and then she bites and nudges them whenever she can. One researcher in 1990s, in 94 I think, she says this forces them into a lifetime of socially induced infertility. They're also very tolerant of low oxygen conditions, so anoxia, and scientists thought that this was because they live in underground burrows, so many individuals, perhaps they just have, they need to be able to survive low oxygen, high CO2 conditions. But actually, other mole rats that don't form colonies across Africa also don't, they have a high tolerance of hypoxia. So researchers now think that it's because how they dig. They don't dig with their feet like moles or rabbits or other burrowing animals. They actually dig with their faces, so with their teeth and their heads. And they're called, I think they're called teeth and head lift diggers is what scientists call them. And because of this, they get a lot of soil in their faces, so they can't actually breathe, which might be why they're resilient to oxygen stress. They're coprophagic. They eat each other's poo.